I am preparing. Yep, it's saying preparing to live stream. So I should get a. Okay, wait a second. What's going on here? Let's see. I want to make sure that is working. There it is, CPC meeting. I will make sure the volume is off in this. Okay. Very good. All right. I see it's live. Okay, great. Put my sound back up so I can hear you all. All right. So we're live on YouTube. The meeting has not started yet, but 1 o'clock, presumably we'll get moving on that. Let's see. I think we're doing good. Okay. Oh, reactions. Ah, now I see reactions. Okay. Well, I see reactions, but I still don't see the hand thing. Interesting. All right. Well, I'm not going to raise my hand. Let's see. All right, well, we're coming around to almost, for my digital clock on my fine computer here, 30 seconds to go. So Justin, I'm gonna start recording if that's good with you.
Yeah, it's fine with me.
All right, let me do that, get that going. Where is the recording? Is it record here? Record on this computer. And we are now recording and live on YouTube. So we got 5 seconds to 1 o'clock.
Is that a green screen or are you out in front of the city hall?
Yeah, I have a special van out parked out in front of the
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I actually bought a green screen because I figured just have fun with this stuff. So I got to pick off the website this morning just to have the appropriate setting, a mood perhaps.
I have a colleague who shall remain nameless who put Yankee Stadium behind him for one of our big team calls, and I was like, dude, not cool, but he owns it.
Oh, hi, Daria. Oh, you're connect the audio. Connect the audio. Daria can say something so we just hear you?
Hello.
Hello. All right, great. All right, it's 1 o'clock plus a few seconds, so we can actually start the meeting. Justin, you want to take it off?
Yeah, I'll call the CPC to order, a special meeting, April 10th, and it's 1 o'clock. With that, everybody was sent an agenda. We're going to deviate from the agenda, but the first thing we'll do is have a roll call. Dan, if you call roll, please.
Sounds straightforward. Sean Wilson, I do not see. I guess he's not here. Amanda?
Present.
Thank you. Loretta?
Here.
All right. And Bob LeBlanc?
Present.
Thank you. Bill Doyle?
Present.
Tom? Absent, that's right. Thank you. I'm here. Erica?
Present.
And Justin?
I am here.
Thank you. All right, so we definitely have a good quorum of 7. So
With that, I'd like to announce that this is being recorded for future broadcast on the Municipal Access channel, and it's being streamed live on YouTube. With that, the first item on our agenda was the city's application for $1 million. The mayor has requested that the watch application had been, there were mistakes or errors. It did not make the agenda, but it can be brought up on the other items. And the watch application is for $100,000. I asked Julie to send it to everyone again, just to make sure they had it. Does everyone have the watch application for the $100,000?
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
Just I just want to interrupt you 1 second. I do want to just show on the screen how people can email comments and questions. So I just want to just to share the screen for just a moment to
Go ahead.
everyone knows. Let me pick that up here. All right. So to facilitate public input, basically, if you have a comment or a question about an application, please email to the address you see on the screen at this point, and include your full name and address, as that is required when anyone is commenting or questioning at a in-person meeting. So we need the same thing in an email too. So that just write down that email address, jtool@city.waltham.ma.us. Thank you very much. Let me stop sharing.
And can you repeat that, because the US was cut off on the screen?
Oh, thank you. Okay, it was cut off. Oh, all right. Let me adjust that screen here a little bit.
Can you put us up on top?
1 second. Oh, that's really small. Hopefully that's still readable. Let's see, can I put us on top? I have not done both people and sharing a screen at the same time. So
Can we put that into the chat function here? Oh, that doesn't help for YouTube. Never mind.
right, doesn't, yeah. We can, show this again if we need to.
Yeah, why don't we do that in order to get, I'm not sure how long this meeting is going to go, Dan, in committee. I would like to get on with it. If they do have a question, we can somehow get a hold of Julie, and she can get it to us. If they do they have access to you, Dan?
They being?
Whoever may be, do you know who's watching as far as Zoom goes, other than members?
No, no, because it's being broadcast on YouTube live.
Okay.
It's unknown.
Okay, all right, fine, okay. So it's just, let's give Julie, it's Julie, jtool@city.waltham.ma.us. So with that, Dan, you are very familiar with the Watch app. If you would like to present it, have at it, please.
Great, and I will start to do that with just the one thing that if I misrepresent anything, I would hope Daria would raise her hand there and make sure to clarify something if I mess something up. There's the shorthand of this to start with, and then I'll have a little bit more, is that this description of the project, excuse me, is to have $100,000 from the CPC, CPA monies go to the Waltham Housing Division and to augment the existing fund, but with the clear stipulations about 50% AMI as a requirement for where the low and very low income assistance, and that it's for rental income. Let's see, and basically it's based on need, but the concept is to help get that money right away to the existing situation. That said, since this is CPA funds, there are issues involved with making sure that there's a fairness. There's also following following the footsteps of other cities and towns that have already done some things for the emergency situation right now. There's a bit of list on what pages. There was 2 PDFs that came that were the direct part of the application. And on page 3 of the second supplement, there's a list of 14 items that talk about parameters of running the process for allocation. I don't know if anyone has access to see them all, but there's it was a important set of guidelines. Let's see. So I'm going to quickly run through it because it's kind of important. Application number 1: applications will be readily available. Documentation 2: documentation will be required to determine income eligibility. 3: guidelines for the program will be clear and well advertised. 4: reasonable accommodations will be made to assist those with physical, mental, or language challenges. 5: this rental assistance program will be a temporary program to assist Waltham residents with COVID-19 epidemic-related rent relief. 6: rent payments will be made directly to the landlords. 7: an addendum, and this one I'm not as clear about. Maybe I'll have to ask for assistance with this. An addendum will be added to existing rental lease or grant agreement with the will be signed with the rental assistance beneficiary and landlord. So that one I'm not 100% clear about, so I'll probably have to ask Dari for some info on that. 8: eligibility will not be restricted to people working in certain industries. 9: the documents required for a complete application will be clearly stated on the application. 10: if possible, an online application process will be used with the paper application available as well. 11: a specific date will be given for a deadline to be considered. If demand exceeds supply, a random selection lottery process will be used. 12: a notice of the program will be posted on the city's website. 13: the administrators will document the internal structure and process used. This includes how funds are distributed and tracked. And finally, 14: monthly reports will be given to the CPC and City Council on the expenditure of funds. So one of the things in here, and I did actually speak with Dari before this meeting as I was going to be presenting this, and it's in the app, which I'm not seeing at the moment, says this is for 1 month, but would like to amend this to be 2 to 3 months as required or necessary, and again, determined by need, add that into this, seeing that we're looking at both this application, I mean, this application being also, if it passes, then, and if the mayor passes, there'll be even more funds from the mayor's application. So hopefully this can be used for a little longer for those in need. Let's see. And the page following that on 4 is something good, which I'm not going to read a lot from. I just want to bring up about the pointing that this is, again, for 50% AMI or lower, and for a 5 household of 5, that's $64,000 is 50% AMI for this area. So with that, I think that's the short of it. I presume if at this point I actually will ask Dari if there's something I've missed in trying to present this, just to make. Dari?
Yes, first of all, I just want to give some context that the city and the housing division have and the mayor have done an amazing job in jumping on this. So they, got the funds from the city funds for this program and have already been taking applications. So we are way ahead of the game as far as that goes. So now that we're considering using CPC funds, those notes that Dan read off are really just guidelines from Mass Housing Partnership, which kind of gives guidance to municipalities on the use of CPC funds. So those sort of came just recently. And so those are things we could consider if the funds are specifically CPC funds. Now we have a little more guidance on how to structure the program. 2 things I would want to point out. One is when we submitted this application, the 2020 HUD AMI numbers had not been released. They have since been released. So they've gone up a bit. And I shared that with Justin and Julie, the new numbers. So they're slightly higher than what is in the application. And in terms of the point around having some sort of agreement between the landlord, that can be pretty abbreviated. It's really just to document that the tenant, the landlord, and the agency all have acknowledged that this payment was made to the landlord for this rent. It's just sort of like a receipt. I know another agency that's looking at setting this up is looking to do this online. So the landlord can just go online and sort of initial that, yes, I understand I'm receiving this rent for this tenant on this month. It's really just to make sure there's real clear documentation of that.
So that transaction, basically, yeah, receipt for, okay, thanks. That clarifies. I think that would make a lot of sense. I think
wait, Dan, just
yes.
Sorry. In that W-9 is going to be necessary if a landlord is receiving it, because that's tax reportable, and the city and or the CPC is going to require a W-9 from a landlord, just to let you know.
Right. W-9, though, correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't have actually explicit amounts on it, does it?
Yes, it does.
Oh, it does. And
Paid to the landlord from the agency.
right, but it doesn't say
The W-9 just requests name, address, and tax ID number. They would follow up with a 1099 miscellaneous at the end of the year that would report the rents.
Right, but again, as far as the receipt, that it's clear that the money is for a particular tenant, is I think what the point that Dara is trying to bring up. So hopefully there's some way of having that. I mean, as if I was, giving money away, I definitely would want to, clearly receipt what's it being used for, explicit, for this person's rent. So I think there's some validity to that issue. How it gets addressed, I'm going to drop that now, but let's make sure that there's some way of that happening. So that'd be great.
Well, I would defer to Loretta. I think Ingo was a W-9, but I would ask for her expertise. Loretta?
Right. So the W-9 just documents that the landlord's providing its own address and tax ID number, so that when you follow up at the end of the year, they get a rent notice that says, you were paid X amount of rent from the city of Waltham or through the program that, that Watch is running.
But neither of the 1099 or the W9 explicitly says what tenant it was for, though.
It doesn't, no.
Right. So that's the issue that I just want to make sure that that we get there into the process somehow. You know, I don't know how. I don't want to get messy about it now, the details, but let's just assume that that is part of the process to make sure.
There's creative ways to do that easily. And also just to clarify, our application does specify the funds are for the housing division's fund, that we're requesting money for that existing fund.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. This is right. This money goes to the existing fund that's already doing the incredible work that got going already. So, all right. So, see,
With that,
yeah.
is that the presentation, Dan?
That's as much as I have. Daria, is there anything that you need to supplement? No. Okay. So Daria says no.
Okay. Questions from the board, or the committee, I should say. Anybody got questions regarding?
I have a question. Is the money, who writes the checks? Does the checks go through the housing authority or the city writes the checks? It's probably a detail, but I'm curious.
I would think that the checks would have to be written from the city. I don't see that we would, and this would have to be double checked, but I would think the request would come into the CPC with documentation, and the CPC would authorize payment from the city to the landlord. That would be, but I would want to check, but that would be my suggestion.
So we would be approving each one, or there would just be Daria's shaking her head.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of curious of like the mechanics, the financial mechanics.
Well, I can just address that. For example, when the CPC funded the local voucher program, it was just one lump sum. Once the mayor signs off on the final contract,
Okay.
then a lump sum goes to the agency that's administering the funds.
Okay.
But that was the Waltham Housing, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so this would be the housing division.
Well, the vouchers with Waltham Housing.
Right, but then they paid the landlords, but the money from the CPC went in one lump sum to that agency to then administer the program.
Correct. If that's the case, what's the oversight, Daria? I'm not comfortable with that.
So that's the question. What has been the oversight with the housing authority for the local voucher program? It's been as requested. There's been reports to the CPC or the city council.
Correct.
Okay. So we'll get reports, but we don't have to approve every check.
Right.
No.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. That's fine.
Is that Justin? That's good for you.
I can.
That's not good for the city, but I'll speak when I have a chance. Thank you.
Okay.
That was there.
Yeah, got it. So is that a detail that can be worked out in the future, or do we need to address that?
I was simply stating what the general practice is. The details is however the city wants to do it.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Whatever the city needs. Justin, does that sound like?
Yeah, well, that would be my suggestion to start off with. The city should really make the decision on that.
Okay.
The law department, the auditor, or that's got to be a city decision, or the council. Whatever.
So can I ask a question on that? So it sounds like someone's going to administer this money and someone's going to review applications and ultimately cut the checks. It's either going to be the city, an employee of the city in some room doing this, or it's going to be Daria's group, Watch. Depending on which group is doing it, of the $1 million, is there?
No, Bill, this is for 100,000.
100,000. I'm sorry, looking at the zeros here. Of the 100,000, what percentage of that goes to the administration of this? I mean, someone's going to be sitting at a desk getting 40 hours a week paid to do this administration. I think I'm hearing it's either going to be a city person or Watch. And what is that number?
This this money goes to, if I'm not wrong, I think I'm correct in that saying, this money goes to the housing division, if I get the right word there, Justin? Division?
No, this would be a standalone, this is Watch's standalone application. This is not to be confused with the $1 million request from the application from the city. This is
sorry about that.
Application.
Correct, but as I did read that, and Gary, correct me if I'm reading this wrong, but this would be go to the city fund to continue with in the existing fund that has already been started there, and that's and Watch is
That, Dan, let me clarify that $150,000 fund is not strictly for, that's for emergencies pertaining, if I'm not mistaken, and the mayor can correct me, pertaining to the COVID-19 crisis. It doesn't necessarily have to be strictly rent, if I'm not mistaken. And again, the mayor can correct me. And that's
right. So there's going, if the next application comes along, there will be the administration of those funds that will be having to follow also CPA guidelines to some degree, that it can only be used for housing. So there will, if that application goes forward, there will already be a process that can also administer this $100,000 as well. So in the city, so it makes
Respectfully,
sense.
I'm going to speak now. I'm sorry I got disconnected, so I didn't hear the whole thing. This 100,000 is a separate application, so it's going to be administered by Watch and supervised by CPC. It's not going to the housing division, okay? The other application is going to the housing division, and when we get to that, but this is Watch's application that will be administered by Watch. And they have a lot of people that have been coming to them, so they need funds to be able to satisfy the people that have been coming to them. But and the other thing is, on ours, each person has to have a vendor account. So in order to make a vendor account, you have to have the W-9, which will indicate, is it a corporation, whatever you are. And then the payments are made once the W-9 is in place and a vendor account has been established. So that triggers, at the end of the year, the 1099 reporting by auditing and treasurer. So I just want to let you know. This was to help Watch, you know what I mean? Because Watch put in 2 applications, one in the beginning and this one here. I think we did them on the same day. But, I have no problem with Watch being able to help the people that are coming to them daily. So, but it's got to be administered by Watch, because I have 4 people working nonstop, including a bilingual person, processing and, ours. And I just want to let you know. So, but I have to, my application for the 150 COVID fund, I'm not taking applications for that after April. You know what I mean? So I'm going to transition over to the requirements. There's different requirements on that. It was a simple application with the W-9.
Can we stay with the 100 with the Watch one right now? I'm getting just a little confused.
Well, no, you can stay with whatever you want. I'm just telling you, the city's not administering this 100,000. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, okay.
Okay? So, and that's to give Watch a chance to help the people that are coming to them.
Yeah.
I can't administer something because I'm not getting those things. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'll stick to the 100,000. The city's not going to administer those. The housing division already has, the applications from the 150, and then this new process is going to give them even more work. But we're trying to do the best we can, all of us. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. And I'll keep quiet now.
Okay, so I think that kind of leads into the answer of the question that I originally had. So there's $100,000 that's going to Watch. Watch will administer that money.
I'm going to interrupt you first as the presenter and speaking to Daria here. That was not what the proposal was. So at this point, that was a suggestion for an amendment to the proposal to basically have Watch now administer $1,000. So I guess the question is now to Daria is, for the Watch application, is that something you are good for an amendment to make that change the application?
In our application, we're trying to support the existing fund with the health division. who, like the mayor has said, has put in tremendous effort to get this going, to take applications. We were really trying to support that effort, and that's where our application came from. The only reason we haven't pulled our application since the mayor came forward with such a generous proposal is that we just want to be part of the conversation on who's being helped and the parameters of the process. It's really more the main difference being that we had asked for a threshold of 50% AMI, really to make sure that those most in need get this support. So I think it makes sense to consider the mayor's proposal, see if we think that will meet the needs of the community. And if so, then there's no reason for us to have a separate fund.
So,
So what's your pleasure, Daria?
I would say that the committee
Go ahead.
consider the mayor's proposal and discuss it and see if they feel like that meets the needs. And like I said, there's no reason to be sending people in two different places. You know, that would just kind of create some confusion.
Well, I'm sure the mayor and all would be thrilled to have any assistance in filling out and directing people, but more filling out applications through Watch or through and just a note that I don't know whether anybody has seen it. Katie Dowsett from the Partnership for Youth also signed on and would aid or assist in filling out applications. I'm sure the city would welcome that, but the mayor's parameters are different than yours, and the mayor's parameters reach out to everyone at 100%. So that's how, and I'm speaking for the mayor now, and I will let her jump in, but it's 100% of the AMI, just to let everybody know.
well, okay, so just looking at process here for a second. So at this point, it's sounding like what I was hearing from Daria is that she is okay with tabling her application at the moment and moving forward, letting us move forward with the mayor's application. Is that what I'm hearing? Yes, that's what I hear. Okay.
I move we table this application and move on to the next.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay.
Okay,
So
Daria, thank you.
Please,
Now,
Daria, can you please
are
stay
you-
on?
Daria, thank you very much. We'll move on to the mayor's application. Mayor, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Did you hear the withdrawal of Watch's application?
It was not.
No, it wasn't withdrawal, it was tabled. It was tabled.
I
Okay.
apologize.
And let's go through this for a minute, okay? So I have hundreds of applications, more than the 150 can accommodate. And in fairness to my 4 people that have been working day and night, these applications have been put out into a various amount. So there is, a tremendous need that's coming from Watch. So the people that are coming to Watch are foundations, corporations, nonprofits. They're forwarding all the applications to the city. So what's happening now is we're taking individual applications, then the funds that are coming in. So we have a tremendous demand, okay? But I know I don't want to do a duplication because no matter what, I'm going to have only X amount of money for the 150, and that has a different guideline than the proposal that's put forth. So I just want to say that for the record, and I'll go through the application if I could, please.
Please.
So I have an application here, Jeanette McCarthy, City, and I'm doing this only because people are doing it remote, so you'll have to pardon me for a few minutes. The applicant is Jeanette McCarthy on behalf of the City of Waltham. The co-applicant is the Housing Division of the City of Waltham. The mailing address is 610 Main Street. My daytime phone number is 781-314-3100. The email address is mayor@city.waltham.ma.us. There is no developer here. The project name is the Emergency Assistance Housing Fund, and there's the address of the project. There's no parcel. So that's page 1 of the application. Now, we have put in a project funding request from the Community Preservation Fund for $1 million. Then the next type, the type of housing, we have filled out all of the home ownership, rental, and targeted population because we're trying to meet the needs of the entire community. And we did add another one under the targeted population, so that is individual, family, special needs, identified needs, elderly, homeless, at risk of homelessness, or veteran. So the only other one that we added was veteran. On page 3, it's really a blank because we're not providing units of housing, although I have some proposals to do that, include module houses, but that's not here right this minute. The next one is page 4. There's nothing on that because that has to do with regard to the housing. Page 5 is blank, and then I have signed the application, Jeanette McCarthy, Mayor, 4/7/2020. Now, with regard to the attachments, this is a program, is a temporary rental assistance program for households who are displaced persons or who are at risk of becoming displaced. So what I have done is I've attached a draft application, and that has, the application itself has 2 pages, but the attachments to that has the W-9 form, which is the request for taxpayer identification number and certification, which they have to certify under the pains and penalty of perjury. That's a standard form of the IRS. And then next attachment is MHP, Emergency Rental Assistance Programs, page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, I believe. I think there's 4 pages on that one. And those are the MHP guidelines, and it goes into consider your funding source, create clear guidelines, advertise them well, purpose, parameters, application, income eligibility, documents, selection process, accommodations, program management, clarified that this is a temporary program. And then it goes, be cautious about restricting eligibility beyond income. Applications should be readily available. Rent payments should be made directly to landlords. Comply with the Massachusetts Anti-Aid Amendment. And then if it's advisable, partner with an organization or a consultant. Okay, so that's attached. Then we also have put together here application checklists, and naturally these will be translated by our new staff member into Spanish, but we'll translate them in other languages as we can. So it will be an application checklist, which goes into information that's required, income tax documentation, financial documentation, verification of income, and the City of Waltham may request additional information to make a determination of your eligibility. Then there's next steps. You have to have a completed application with all required income documentation ready. You will contact the housing office to schedule an intake appointment. Please allow 30 minutes to 1 hour for the intake appointment, as documents will be reviewed by staff. Staff will explain how the program will work for you, and you may be asked to sign some documents in the housing office, and it says the location. And then there is the income limits at 100%, and for household size. So that's what that is. And the reason why we're doing this, and I think we're all in the same mindset about this, is based upon the states of emergency declared by the federal and state government, also the orders that have been issued by the governor of Massachusetts, as well as the State Department of Public Health and the local Board of Health, and also, most importantly, based upon a global pandemic that we feel that we have an obligation to help people, to help them with themselves and their families so that they don't become displaced or threat of displaced. And, we're trying to provide some type of economic benefit temporary to make sure they are able to live as human beings and not get sick and not hopefully prevent any emotional stress on them further than what the pandemic is causing. So that basically is my application. I just wanted to say how, we made the application for the original fund, and that's the same one that's here, but the other attachments are there so that these are much more, this is normally what the housing division would do in their rental assistance program. So this one we know is, should have more checks and balances on it. The original 150 was to provide assistance right now as quick as we can, because of the urgent pandemic. So, but this one, we have tried to model it after the application that they use. In order to process these, and I was cut off, but I have to say, each individual applicant has a separate vendor. So the auditors is working too to make sure the checks are gone. So that means they have to create a separate account for each one, and on the programs such like that. So, and normally how this would be handled, the housing division would do all of the paperwork, and then they would make a request for a payment voucher to the department which goes through the various city departments and eventually signed off by me and then sent for payment to auditors. So I think some of my housing division people are on the line. If there's something I missed, would you like to say anything at this time?
Diane, Deb?
Debbie or Bob? So I didn't hear anything, so I hopefully covered everything. Okay, so I'll be very happy to answer any questions.
I'm going to ask the committee if they have questions.
And go ahead. I'm sorry. Yep. Could you identify yourself, because I wasn't here for? I apologize. I got a different connection. It failed for some reason, so I didn't hear who's present. So I apologize. So if you could just say your name.
Okay.
Go ahead, Bill.
I'm okay to go. Okay, Bill Doyle. Hi, Mayor. I hope everything's well with you.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. No, that actually cleared up my question from before. It sounds like this program, the $1 million, is going to go to the housing division. And it will be administered by city employees through that process, and that's perfect. That sounds. I understand that. Is that my understanding accurate?
That's correct. It's in other words, it's what they normally do for emergency assistance. Okay.
So then the other application, not to get off of the current topic.
Well, that's in fairness, that other application is tabled. So I mean, you can come back to that, but you wouldn't let me talk, so I'm not going to answer questions about the other application now. And I'm
not the.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be a wise guy. I'm just trying to be honest. We got 1 for 1.
I know. I'm just trying to clarify. So this program for the 1 million is administered by city employees, and if and when we untable the other application, that is money that's going to Watch, and that will be administered by Watch. Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
That's all I needed to understand.
But as a member Melanchek pointed out, that's not what they applied for.
Yeah, and that's my confusion.
But the bottom line is we have hundreds of applications right now that we're going through. So we haven't finished all the applications we have now, and it's the 10th of April, and there's 30 days in April.
Yeah.
So we're taking applications till April. So naturally, we have to make sure there's no duplication of effort. So the only thing is, no matter what happens, you would have to have a contract with the city to administer it. And then we would make sure, so for example, we would have a name, an address, what type of help it was, in this case it's housing, and the amount. So those things would have to, and then the landlord's name. Yeah. So we would have to have that in a spreadsheet so that we would be able to, because I don't have a problem. The names and addresses, I believe, are confidential, but at least a number, the location of the property, what you're doing, what I'm saying?
But it sounds like the current application, what you're asking for, the 1 million, has all of those checks and balances incorporated in it.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so I'm comfortable ruling on the 1 million, the open item that we're talking about right now, and we can talk about adding those checks and balances to the tabled item. But I want to leave the tabled item on the table for now. this application sounds like it has all the checks and balances, and it has the, the administrative wherewithal to do it, although they're probably working 60 or 70 hours a week to get it done.
More.
I suspect, and God
I
bless.
have to give a big shout out to them, really.
Yes,
The
absolutely.
whole department has pulled together.
Yes. So
And then
from
we
my heart, I
have,
wanna make sure
a
they
new
get something.
bilingual person. She's been wonderful too.
Perfect.
Any other, are you done, Bill?
No, that's great. I'm done talking.
Okay. Other questions?
Erica, I saw.
I don't have a question. I just wanted to note that Diane Flanagan wrote, sorry, I don't have audio in the chat.
Debbie
Sorry,
Flanagan, yeah.
Debbie. So I don't know if she has anything she wanted to add. Oh, she said, I have no comments except that we will work in cooperation with the CPC and the mayor's office to provide clear guidelines, program procedures to all applicants and adhere to fair housing law.
Excellent.
Okay. So can you make that as testimony, please?
Absolutely.
Add that to my testimony, please.
Absolutely will. Julie? Any other questions?
Yep,
Dan has a question.
Go ahead. Who's that?
that's Dan.
Okay, go ahead, Dan.
So what I'm not clear about in the application, so it, Madam Mayor, it says it's for up to 100% AMI, which is allowed under CPA rules, of my understanding. But it is, just to be clear, this is needs based. So if someone comes in, let's say at 100 API, a 5-person family who has a job, who's making $128,000 ballpark, whatever the number is, they actually have to have not being paid and have an issue, right? I mean, it's not like.
Yes. So for example, and I'm going to say this, and I'm not touting my horn. I've been taking phone calls from 7:30 a.m. to 10 at night, and there's a lot of people in need. People who have no one working in the house, who you would think that, you know what I mean? So, and when the sole source doesn't have income, and now you might meet the guidelines. So, you know what I mean? I'm trying to prevent people from bankruptcy, losing their house. There's a lot of programs coming out of Boston where they're saying, oh, we're going to provide you 3 months mortgage. But what they're actually doing is they're telling you to go to your bank, rewrite your mortgage, and then all those fees are added at the end. So we're trying to, while they, a lot of people have been laid off and they've never been laid off in their life. So that's why I'm saying it goes from 0, which is the, 50 to 0, but I have to have the ability to look at applications that may be worthy of assistance as well. You know what I mean? And naturally, they have to have a qualifying event that triggers that and proof of that, and be able to show housing division of that, because we would have to have verification from the former employer or something like that. And because right now this is for housing, we would be only in that. You know what I mean? In other words, are you losing your house, or you're losing your apartment, or you're going to be evicted, or so you know what I mean? This is so those guidelines, the verification will be done, but I just need some flexibility, because based upon the calls that I'm getting, you know what I mean? I can tell them to go, tell your landlord, you know what I mean? But so there are some people that are going to get evicted too. So that's the reason why we left it open, based upon the needs that both housing and I are receiving at this time. And naturally, we're receiving a lot of people who are much lower guidelines too.
Just so that's totally clear to me. So somebody comes in, they have, this is about their current income. 100 AMI is basically what maybe they were making up, being laid off or and not getting any income, and they're also then threatened with eviction because they can't pay they don't have money to pay the rent or to pay the mortgage, and that's also in the mortgage company. So they both have to have not income coming in and have some issue of
yes, and all that has to be verified by them, and then in addition to the intake, they have to make sure. So they call In addition to what they have, they also call to make sure it's true.
Okay, well, that's,
So-
all right, that, all right, thanks for clarifying that.
No problem.
All right,
I mean, they've been, and they've been doing this a lot longer than me.
okay, and Justin,
You know, I mean, I have to thank everybody. I mean, these are times that I'm 66 years old. And I haven't never seen anything like this. So.
yeah, I hear you on that. I was just thinking about that yesterday. Justin, we don't have the visual, but it sounds like you're still there.
I'm just trying to get back.
Okay.
I got something texted to me, and I'm trying to get back to the Zoom, and I'm not sure what the hell to do to get back there.
Okay. If you drop out and come back
Here I
in,
am. Okay.
and
No,
you're there.
I'm
Okay.
fine. I'm fine.
And
Okay.
and I do actually I'm going to read from. Interrupt for a second. There is a message from Deb Flanagan in the chat. Quote, we see in the majority of current applications we have received that more than 70% of the applicants are very low income renters. So that's what they're seeing at this point. So there you go.
And as far as everything would be done per allowable, whatever is allowable by law, both the Commonwealth, the Fed, and the statute of the CPA. So that would we would go from there as far as that goes. That allowable by law, whatever law is applicable or statute is applicable as far as rental payments and mortgage payments. So, any other questions from the committee?
I do just actually wanted to check in with Julie. Have you received any emails from anyone? Julie, is there still there? Hello, Julie. Okay.
She's on.
She's on.
Muted. Julie's muted.
Yeah, she's muted and her picture is frozen. So let's see. Because at this point it's sort of unless there's more from I don't want to.
Well, the other thing is I want to know is while Julie is trying to get contact you because she just texted me, are there any questions from the committee? Bob or Bill or Amanda or Loretta?
I have none, no.
No.
Okay.
Actually, I'm sorry. Not too. I don't want to get too many details, but is this the concept, Mayor? Is this for like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months? When the payments are people applying based on their situation. I just want to get a feeling for.
This is not a 30-day. This would be extended further.
Extend further. So,
in other words, the deadline for applying would not be 30 days here because.
Oh no, I mean the actual the assistance. So let's say they come in for assistance. Do they get one mortgage payment? They get one rent payment, or they get 2 months worth, or 3 months worth, or is that by need, or how is that figured out?
Okay, it's usually by need. In other words, first of all, you have to be in arrears. So,
Okay.
so that's what I know about that. But I would have to defer to housing on that. But I think we have provided assistance where they give them the first month, the last month's rent. You know what I mean? In other words, and sometimes that includes another location in Waltham. So say, for example, they get evicted and they need first and last month's rent so that they, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
So Deb would know that more than I, or Bob, or whoever's on there.
Okay.
Just to let you know, Mayor, she just texted they suggest a maximum of 3 months is what Deb suggests.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, I just saw that too. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you very much. Yes, she would know that better than I.
Okay. Any other questions or suggestions or comments? All right. Hearing, I guess, because I can't see. Hearing none, I would look for a motion then.
Well, actually, Justin, before that, I just wanted to, that's why I'm trying to get in touch with Julie to see if there's any like open, we technically want to have, sort of have a little public hearing aspect, if there's any emails or comments.
Somebody should email her then. You have to email her so that she knows if she's muted.
Okay, so yeah, all right.
And just ask her if there are any comments. That's how we did it on the school committee. We waited a couple minutes so
All right.
the person running the meeting can find out if there were any comments.
Let's see, get,
Can you, I don't have no, Julie joined the meeting. She's on. Julie, you there?
oh, connect to audio again, okay.
Julie?
I just sent her an email to her work email.
Okay. She just joined the meeting, it said on my screen, so.
Yeah, she's down below.
Julie, if you can hear, there you are. Can you hear me?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Have
Okay.
you got any emails or any questions pertaining to the mayor's application?
I do. I have one. Let me find it. Here we go.
Thank you.
It's from Fred Reynolds, 315 Lake Street in Waltham.
Okay.
In his opinion, the CPC money should be used to prevent evictions of renters, but a first effort should target households at 50% AMI.
Okay.
These are the Waltham residents at most risk of eviction.
So that's a
Okay.
comment.
We couldn't hear that whole part. Can you read it again into the record, please?
Sure. So Fred Reynolds, 315 Lake Street in Waltham. In his opinion, the CPC money should be used to prevent evictions of renters, but a first effort should target households at 50% AMI. These are the Waltham residents at most risk of eviction. This 50% AMI population consists of households with little to no savings to pay the rents.
Is that it?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. That will be in the record, Mayor. Any other comments?
Thank you, and that's what the 150 was designed in the
Right.
beginning. Yep, thank you.
We did get actually a letter from who is this? Katie Doucette, executive.
I mentioned that.
Right, but I just got an email asking for that to be read into the record. So
The whole letter?
yeah, it'll take a couple minutes.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, I volunteer. Dear, this is from Katie, again, Katie Doucette, Executive Director, Waltham Partnership for Youth, on behalf of our entire team. Dear Community Preservation Committee, on behalf of the Waltham Partnership for Youth, I write to applaud the mayor for putting forth this proposal and to support the request for $1 million in emergency tenant assistance. As you consider the request, we do have some questions and suggestions that we hope you will take into account. Over the last few weeks, the team at Waltham Partnership for Youth has worked directly with teens and their families to connect them to resources such as food, Wi-Fi, access, and rental assistance. While we have been moved by a number of individuals and agencies who are rallying to provide support, we also have witnessed firsthand the number of barriers that make it difficult and sometimes impossible for those who need it most to access these supports. With the goal of helping to mitigate some of those barriers, we suggest the following. Applicants with 50% AMI be prioritized, with a percentage of the funding being reserved exclusively for those at that income level. Sufficient time and resources be dedicated to developing an application process that is easily understood and accessible, including, for example, application materials in multiple languages, which the mayor has already mentioned, and with ample visuals for those with low literacy levels and disabilities, video tutorials in multiple languages on how to access, complete, and submit applications, more clearly and explicitly stating that tenants are not required to complete a W-9 and that their landlord can instead complete the W-9. Providing telephone support in multiple languages for applicants who need support accessing and or completing the application. Then, then sufficient time and resources to be dedicated to developing a communication and outreach strategy that ensures all residents are made aware of this opportunity. For example, notifications in multiple languages and multiple formats, written, visual, video, on city website, social media, local media, etc. Physically mailing information to residents of public housing and other low-income housing developments and neighborhoods, ensuring that social service agencies who work with low-income households are also aware of and have access to information and applications so that we can help get the word out and provide direct support to our constituents. Consider ways to communicate directly with landlords so that they are aware of this program and encouraged to support their tenants by completing the W-9 and/or other required paperwork. If the program is rolled out before these measures are in place, the risk is that we perpetrate a tiered system that prioritizes access to those with greater resources and abilities. Please know that the Waltham Partnership for Youth is ready and willing to help with any of the above. And I know that the vast network of nonprofits who serve the city tirelessly every day are also here to support. That said, we ask the city to do its part to ensure that this program be developed in a manner that is truly designed to serve those who need it most. Sincerely, Katie Doucette.
Okay, thank you. That's on the record. Mayor, are you still there?
Yes.
I had
Just so you know, for the 150, it was designed for the neediest. It was put in Spanish and English. The other languages, I'm open to any of that. It went on the city's website. The tenants are told that as long as the landlord gives a W-9, and they have had the support conferences, you know, the telephone support. So, and we have someone that's bilingual answering the calls. The calls are left. Many of them are left in the language, not English. So those calls are interpreted, and then they're given, and then they follow up. Those are assigned to one of the four, and was on the city website. And we have received many, many requests from social service agencies, and, you know, I'm not really sure the number of applications right now, but I'm open to a certain amount of this money going towards, because that's what my program was in the beginning, was the 150, you know what I mean? So that to meet the neediest of needs, the ones that, you know, have very little income and lost their job and trying to get food and trying to survive and have kids and, you know, all of that. So I am open to having a certain amount of this if the CPC wishes to have that. I'm also opening to, you know, because Katie has some wonderful kids that do translations to work on other languages. You know, school department has been doing all this in multi-languages, so that's available. But those people are all backed up, you know what I mean, from the PIC. So I'm open to all of those things. The other thing is I would like to just address the list that we have, and I just want to ask Debbie a question for that for a minute. Could I, Deb? How many applications you got now?
over 400.
Over 400?
That's what she said.
Okay. And can you just, you know, without violating anybody's privacy rights, are they mostly, you know,
Low income?
low income? Yeah, but I don't want to violate anybody's privacy. So
Well,
are they
she
mostly low income?
She's already said the majority are.
70% of them. Okay. All right. Very good.
Okay, Mayor.
So
while
I you know, so I mean, I mean, we work very well with Katie. We work very well with Watch. I don't have a problem with any of those suggestions.
What, Mayor, while you're there, I had 2 texts come in, and one is, can the funds go towards increased staffing? Which
Can the
that was
funds
one of the
go
questions.
on ours towards increased staffing?
Yes,
Well, increased staffing for the city people?
that's the question. I would think not, but
Well, I mean, in fairness,
I don't think they can by,
I don't, my administrative costs of my salaries of the city employees
right,
now. And that's the reason why I need to know, how much are they going to, do. So what I'm trying to say in the easiest way, I have to go through all of, because April 30th, we're going to process those ones first, right?
right.
Okay? And then when I run out of money, which I will, there's no doubt in my mind I will, then I'll have to say it's a rental program. You see what I mean?
Yep.
But that's
Okay.
because in fairness, my original application was for utilities, rent, food. You know what I mean? So
Which we can't, which the CPC cannot
yeah,
cover.
so this one is going to switch straight to.
Correct.
So if you know what I mean, and I will make suggestions to housing that 150 will meet those guidelines, and then the next ones, when this money becomes available, the next ones they can do the rental ones for these. But I have to make sure that I'm sticking to the application guidelines that I put forth, because it was utilities, rent, food,
That was
something
the
like
one.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the first one. Okay.
So to answer the funds were not going to go to increase your staffing, correct? I would
Absolutely
think-
not. Absolutely not.
Okay, that answers that question.
What
Second-
about,
Okay.
what,
the
I
second
thought they
question-
wanted it to go to increase staffing. No. I mean, I know.
I don't know
Listen,
whether they
I
do
have
or
very
not.
dedicated people
I don't know if they do
who
or
have,
not.
a lot of city employees at home. They've been working the whole time.
Right.
What
I
about-
believe I've been in contact with them.
I have a question, possibly. What about, Waltham Partnership for Youth and Watch being, hired to explicitly help pre-process applications under strict guidelines from the Housing Division to, so
Okay, well, I have to be honest with you. My application was just for, recipients.
yeah.
And I know that's not the answer you want to hear, but it was for recipients. So I did not envision that I would be hiring someone. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying, it couldn't be done through this fund.
That's not,
Yeah.
it's not the,
Oh,
it's not
not
the
the
answer I
intent?
did or did not
Okay.
want to hear. No, it was
All
more
right.
a possible suggestion to help with the processing, since there's going to be so many. I'm just trying to.
Well,
think
that's one of the reasons why the 100,000 that I want them to be able to access the ones that are coming to them. See,
Okay.
there's plenty of work to go around here.
Well, then my second question, Mayor, is for an amendment is, can we make this for 1.1 million and have that 100,000 that would be for 50% AMI or less allocated per se, because then that's a very minor change up. Because
It's not minor. It's not, and I gotta say, because the only one that was available was mine. Everybody has sent everybody to us. So, I have no problem if you want to restrict the money to a certain amount. I have no problem, because, quite frankly, some people believe that CPC money is only for the 0 to 50. Okay.
No, that's I hope.
No. I'm just saying some people believe that.
Oh, they do. Okay.
Some people believe that, okay? Other people believe that you should be creating housing. I believe in that. I believe in creating housing. But if we didn't have this pandemic and we didn't have this need, I would be saying, let's take this money and create. You know what I mean? So, but
Right.
I'm not going to sit here and say that. But the real issue is, I'm going to be blunt, if they continue to send hundreds of people to us to add on to our list, knowing that I don't have enough money, you know what I mean, for the 150, because you just can figure out, the rents in Waltham, you know what I mean? So, but if they're going to do that, I got to finish my April list first, and those are designed for them. So if they want to help on that, because what happens is this: the applications come in, they're incomplete. So they have to complete them. We get back to them because I've been taking a lot of the calls. So unfortunately, I know what they're asking, and they say, "Okay, fine, this is what you need." And there's a triage. There's a triage that takes place in addition to get them to get all the application in. Some people haven't asked for applications, haven't sent them back yet. So that is very helpful. So if anyone can help us on making sure that the ones that you're sending to us have all of the ducks in line, that will make it very easier for Housing Division to do it. So if I have that commitment, here are the rules and regulations you got to go by. Don't send us any applications unless all those things get the ducks in order, because that will facilitate the payment quicker. If that's the commitment from Watch and Partnership for Youth, I welcome that, because then there's no delay. They just have to look over everything, make sure it meets make sure they have the W-9 on that, and then subsequent with the other program, and that would just mean processing. But right now, it's a lot of, background work trying to help people and assist people with the process. And we made the application so simple on purpose. Happy Easter, Paul. Yeah, we made it so simple, trying not to have people have the problems. You know what I mean? But a lot of people don't understand what a W-9 is, and so we have that translated and everything. So if they can make sure anything that they're referring to us, Dan, I'm talking to you now, and I can't see you, and I apologize. If they make sure that they make a checklist, that my Housing Division makes a checklist, and you don't send us an application unless it has that checklist, I'm good with that. But I'm not good with having them just add on to their list, and the poor people thinking, what the heck is going on? So when they actually look over the applications, they look at them to make sure right in the beginning, you need this, and they make the contacts. So that's part of the problem. So any of the sending agencies that are sending it to the Housing Division, if they will comply with the checklist that will be prepared by Housing, and don't send them unless they got all that stuff, that will help us a lot, because then the checks will go quicker too.
Well, Daria was obviously hearing that, and she's on the meeting still, but she has also in the chat section said, yes, Watch can help people fill out the applications. We are absolutely willing to help. We were told the applications needed to come directly from the tenants, the applications. So, obviously if they, it sounds like you're saying is if they have a set of the applications and all the guidelines and checklists, they can help, get everything together as Waltham Partnership for Youth. So it sounds like both or those two right now are on record for helping. So that's great.
That's good. So but what I can't do is disappoint the people and say, oh, this process is going to take forever. And the more and more applications we get that are incomplete, the more and more angst they have.
For sure.
And the longer it takes. I had said that at the start. If the nonprofits or anybody can help the applicants, all that's going to do is make things smoother and easier.
That's correct. So I want to see if, and I don't want to ask Debbie. I'm just going to say, I will have Debbie and Colette and Mary and Bob prepare a checklist of what is necessary for, because the first one, it's really easy. You got to get a W-9, and you have to have that application complete. And the other thing is, we don't make checks when they're not in arrears. We can't. In other words, you see what I mean? In other words, we can't give a check if they're not in arrears. So there has to be some verification that they're in arrears.
So Dan, that covers two things. If somebody, AMI doesn't much matter. If someone's at 100% and they're in arrears, they're in arrears. So it basically.
And you can't send me. See, you can't send me your lease. It has to be a statement from the landlord that says they're in a. So when you come into a fund for the city, we have other funds. You come in, it goes to another person because it's not our funds. We process it. You have to have a statement, either your utility bill, a recent one that shows you, and you have to have a statement from your landlord. So
Right.
Those are required.
Oh, got that.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm totally cool with all the application process and people are going to help.
okay,
Like, I do have another issue to bring up though.
let me get this question out. I had another text
And I'm
question.
sorry, my phone keeps ringing, but I can't mute you because I have to talk.
That's. and
I'll
the
mute now. I'll mute now.
No, the question's for you. Jeanette, the question's for you. Amir, the question's for you.
Yes.
Will applicants' assets be considered is what the text question I just got.
Okay. That only Debbie can answer that. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
Good.
Would you get, Debbie, when you have a chance, would you get that before the meeting ends, if you could, please? Thanks. Dan, no, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No problem. No problem. So what, while you were talking, Mayor, you mentioned that you would be open to this committee, you know, talking about the levels and particularly, I think, I thought I
Well,
heard.
the 100,000 would be 50 to below, right? Can you hear me now?
No, let me finish what I was saying.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Talking about the AMI level. That currently application is 100% AMI.
Oh, don't go there. Don't go there.
Don't,
What I'm willing to do is have you designate what you want to go to the 50 and below.
oh, okay. So
I'm not changing the income guidelines because this is designed to assist the entire city of Waltham in a pandemic.
Okay.
So, but if you want to say part of this $1 million is for this, I'm fine for that.
Great. How about then I will start the bidding at $200,000 for 50% or lower AMI. As a suggestion, I don't know about anybody in the committee else if they have other numbers or thoughts. I mean, it's clear that from Deb that 70% of the applications so far have been from very low income renters. So is 200 enough to sort of say that would be out of the million?
You're talking about the other 100?
No, I'm talking about your $1 million.
Just the 1 million?
Yeah, I'm talking.
I don't know if Debbie has anything to say.
That I thought I understood you to say that if we would.
No, but that's not my decision. I mean, what I'm saying is right now I have 150, about 140, and then there's another 100 that's going to watch, and then how much you want? 400,000.
Out of the 1 million.
Out of the one, no, I'm just saying. I just add them all up. That's all.
Well, the original 150 is for things including other than rent. So we're talking.
That's correct. But then there's another 100 for rent.
We're talking.
But most of it's going for rent. In fairness, most of it's going for rent.
Okay, that's cool.
Of the ones that I saw yesterday that were being processed, I would say that 97% is for rent.
Okay, that's great information. But the current application that we were discussing is your 1 month, 100.
Okay. Could I ask Debbie? Because honestly, yeah, I have to have her expertise.
There is something in the chat from Debbie. Assets should be considered. In the past, we used a model that if the applicant has a cash balance over 3,500, they will have to use that first. We will allow them to balance of 3,500. We do not feel that the income limit should be restricted. Okay, so that's the AMI issue. Now, I guess the question though, hopefully.
Yeah, ask her that question now. Is 200,000 towards the 50 and below acceptable to housing?
Yes, that's the question. Thank you very much.
That's to Debbie.
Yeah, Debbie. It looks like she's about. Oh, sure. She says sure.
Sure. Okay, I'm fine, Dan.
Okay, super. So amending the application to say of the $1 million, that 200,000 will be exclusively. 200,000
will be reserved for 50 and below.
50 above, right? Yeah. Not that there could be more above it, but definitely 200,000.
Yeah, but a minimum of 200,000 will be reserved. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so that's the change to that application.
Yeah, I have no problem to that.
That's beautiful. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Debbie.
And just to let you know, she said much more than 200,000 will go to that. She She just came up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, based upon what we know, she's right, but I'm all right with that.
That's great. Okay. Okay, I think I'm
The other, let me just jump in. The
Yeah.
other mayor, I got a text, and they would like, if somehow the application would be available in Haitian or Creole. I'm not sure how that would be done, but that's a suggestion. And I said I would. Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. All right. Mayor, anything else? Anything from Deb?
No. Are there any other languages? Because school department usually does Spanish and Haitian Creole.
Okay.
well. How about asking Julie, has any other emails come in?
Julie, are you there?
Yes, I am. One
Anything
more,
else?
can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can. We can hear you.
Okay, so one more came in. It's from Cesar Hernandez. He wants to know, is there any information on average of the requested amount by applicants to know how many households will benefit from the fund? And with the initial application, what percentage of the total current fund will be exhausted? He's trying to understand how we get to 1 million and whether that's enough.
Okay, I got a public records request that just asked that very same question. And my answer was that I have not received any requests for finances, and at the time it was April 8th. Yesterday, I have a list of 67 people. I mean, it's 67,000. And Debbie has that answer, but when it will be exhausted, the applications aren't even completed yet. So we have starting process vendor accounts for this amount. I believe it's about 67,000, and I think I might have it wrong. Debbie, correct me, please. She's gonna just wait for Debbie to do it, because between Debbie and Colette both have the list.
Okay. And as far as that other.
So when it will be exhausted, so the 150 is still there, except I had to spend some money today, but the 150 is still there. But that amount is going to be processed at next week's warrant. So Debbie's going to tell me that.
We have processed 45 applications.
45 applications, and what's the amount?
From $67,000.
$67,000. So I was right about the 67. So that's 45 applications at 67. That's what we have for this week's warrant. And then she has another list coming right after that.
Okay.
And as far as expending the $1 million, that's, who knows? I mean, but Mayor, if the housing division starts to see it going quickly, will you be coming back to us for more?
Well, you have a little bit money left till your allotment, right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
But just so everybody watching this or listening to this knows.
So the amount of the CPC allotment, and I'm talking about the general. You still have money in the general, but most of the housing allotment would be gone now.
Well, it's going to be all gone. We're going to have to take money out of the undesignated, which is.
That's what I'm saying. But I don't want. I have those figures. But
Okay.
am I open? I hope it's over by then. But I'm not sure that the people's need will be over. So I have to wait and see, because if they go beyond
Well, you're not ruling it
school
out.
time and everything, it's a lot. There's a lot of people in trouble.
Understandable.
Yeah.
So I haven't made a decision on any of that yet. I'm trying to process these.
Okay. That answers that question. Anything else, folks?
So just as far as the closing the open, the public meeting aspect, Julie, is there any last things before we close that aspect?
No, I think that was everything from me.
Okay, cool.
I want to thank Julie's help, and I want to thank all the housing division, and I appreciate you doing this meeting on Good Friday too. Thank you very much, everybody.
For sure.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for being up at 7:30 and answering the phones and all that. We appreciate it.
Hey, I'm just telling you, the people are calling. They're just calling.
Okay.
You can hear my phone now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, okay. So
just-
can I mute now? Can I mute now so you can hear each other? Yeah.
No other questions, Mayor, correct?
No,
Okay.
All right.
Excellent. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. I'm still on. I'm just going to mute.
Fine, okay. Having that portion of the public meeting, I'll close. Any other questions, suggestions, comments, or anything?
Nope, not me.
Nope. Okay, then if that's the case, I would look for a motion.
Bill Doyle here. Understanding the nature of the motion is to grant the housing division of the city of Waltham the sum of $1 million from CPC to the housing division for what is titled the Emergency Assistance Housing Fund, with the one amendment that 200,000 of that at a minimum is reserved for 50% AMI or less. I make a motion to approve.
I second the motion.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, I would ask for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Bill Doyle, aye.
Okay, opposed? None. The motion carries unanimously. Now, in order to get there, we're gonna have to take some money, because in affordable housing, we only have 758,800 and change. So we're gonna have to go to the undesignated and take the remainder, and I had those numbers written down. Well, we gotta get to $1 million in the affordable housing fund. So I would ask that we take the 151,000 and change out of, I would look for a motion that we take that out of the undesignated and put it into the affordable housing fund. Would someone make that motion? And we can put exact amount when I.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Erica.
Oh, thanks, Erica.
Right.
And also, I'm sorry, I did not write down that amount. Could you give me that number again, please?
Julie, will you get, it's
Sure.
151.
It's, the amount in the housing account currently is 748,890.55. I need to approve $251,109.45 from the undesignated.
Okay, got it.
So
Thank
moved.
you, Julie.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So there was a motion by Erica for that?
So the motion, okay. Do I hear a second?
Second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it unanimously. There's one last thing, and it's just housekeeping. In order to close an account that has been finished, or a project that's been finished, we have to have a vote of the committee anytime we want to close an account. I would like to have it that the committee approves the authorization for either the chair or the vice chair can close an account when they find the project is done, rather than have that money sit and do nothing. It would go into the fund it came out of to give us more money available. So everybody understand what I'm saying?
Is the request to, instead of having it being a vote of the committee, it can be just a decision by the chair or vice chair or something?
Just so we can go to the auditor and say, close this account.
I mean, it's a mathematical thing. Okay, project's done. It's not like we have to decide if it's done or not. It's done.
It's red tape we're trying to eliminate.
Yeah, I'd be in favor of that. There's no sense in involving the whole committee on something that's, if it's done, it's done. You know,
It's exactly it.
more to do. So that's your answer.
Okay.
Unless there's something real contentious about it, obviously.
There's absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
You need a motion to have Justin be able to do that, though. The
yeah,
CPC has to
that's
vote
what-
that.
That's what
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Okay, Bill makes that motion.
Yeah, so Justin, help me out with the words, about exactly how you want to word it. But
Authorization for the chair or vice chair to close an account once the project is finished.
so moved.
Do I hear a second?
I second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. I want to thank everybody for taking the time and for working through this. I really, really appreciate it. And it's, go ahead, Dan, you look like you got.
Yeah, we did. We have one process issue. We have an application on the table. And
It's going to stay there, or I was leaving it there, so.
so why don't we just take it up for a second so that we can ask Daria what she would like to do.
So I move we take the item that we tabled. I forgot what the title of it was, Daria's item. I move we take that off the table.
Second.
Second, I mean, yeah, good.
Okay, it's on the floor.
So can I just start by just asking or just saying, I know that the mayor said and was very clear in her application for the million that there was a clear process that they went through with the forms and everything. And my sense is with this application for the 100,000 to watch, I got the sense that that might not be the same case. Is that accurate? And maybe.
No, I'll just say that I don't think that's so much the issue, but that the mayor's proposal, how it was spelled out and by Deb and the mayor, is very comprehensive. And so that meets the needs of our community, and we're huge fans of the housing division. So we want to respectfully withdraw our application and fully support the mayor's proposal. And we would love to help applicants fill out applications.
So do we need to make a motion to withdraw, or you just withdraw?
Yes, you got to have a motion.
I move we.
To accept the withdrawal.
Doesn't she withdraw it?
I move we accept Watch CDC's withdrawal of this application for the $100,000.
Second.
Seconded. Discussion? No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Daria. And again, thank everybody. I really, really appreciate the time you've given to this thing. And it will be great to have this thing up and working. So with that, I will look for a motion to adjourn unless there's other business to be spoken about.
So moved.
Seconded?
Second.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Sure.
Excellent. Happy Easter, everyone. Thank you again and pass over to those. And thank
Happy
you,
Easter.
everybody, for your help. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you, everybody.
Happy
Very,
Easter.
Good luck.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
very good. All right.
Thanks.
The meeting's
Thank
adjourned.
you.
I'm stopping recording now.
Okay, the meeting is adjourned. Julie and everybody, thank you again. It was great. Dan,